touch, nimbleness, and explosiveness. It was truly an anomaly of human anatomy. He'd been the best and biggest guy on every team he'd ever played on, forged against the Hakeems and
What's the deal, family? Welcome back to the channel. Today we got another banger for y'all, man. So look, we got Making the Case, 2001 Lakers. Already about to run this shot one time for the one time, man. And look, bro, I've been wanting to react to this series for a long time. I ain't even gonna lie to you, man. Ever since it first dropped. Shouts out to Clayton Crowley, man. He created this a couple years ago. We gonna go through all the teams, man. The 2001 Lakers, 86 Celtics, 71 Bucks, 96 Bulls, 89 Pistons, 87 Lakers, 72 Lakers, and the 17 Warriors. We're going to go through all the teams, man. I also did the Making the Case for the players, by the same guy, Clayton Crowley. Tim Duncan, LeBron, Wilt, Kareem, Larry, Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Magic. So make sure to go check those out if you want to see the players. But we're going to run up the teams, man. And we starting with the 2001 Lakers. This is my favorite team of all time. I don't care what you talking about, bro. You see the work. You see the work right here. You see that? That's my favorite team of all time, man. Rest in peace to Kobe. Shouts out to Shaq and all them other guys, man. But let's get into it. Making the Case, 2001 Lakers. What I want y'all to do in the comments on all the teams that was on that list, let me know which one you think is the greatest team of all time in the NBA. If there's another team that's outside of them, you could put it in the comments, but it probably ain't the greatest team of all time. So let's get into this one, man. Making the Case, 2001 Lakers.
to win, right? But not just to win individual games. The ultimate goal is to win a championship. Of course, basketball is a team sport. Championships are won by the most complete, most inspired team. Every champion deserves credit, but the question on my mind is, who's the greatest team of all time? With apologies to Bill and Wilt, I have a list of 8 teams since 1970 that I want to look at as having a claim to that distinction. It is a loaded question, and one that I ultimately can't answer. Is it the teams that were frontrunners from beginning to end? The ones who were unbeatable at their peak? Maybe the ones who tapped into something special and overcame countless obstacles? There is no right answer. It's your job to make your own call. And it's my job to make the case. So today, I'm
putting the 01 Lakers up against anybody. The only team I will be afraid of, if I'm the 01 Lakers, is the 87 Lakers or something like that, and the 96 Bulls. Those are the only 2 teams I'll be like, I don't know, but you know what I mean? But 01 Lakers up against anybody. Shaq and Kobe, come on, dog. What are you talking about?
Making the case for the 2001 Los Angeles Lakers as the greatest basketball team of all time.
It's my childhood right here.
Here's what you need to know right away. The Lakers went 56-26 in the regular season and 15-1 in the playoffs. They were captained by Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, rounded out their roster with several fantastic two-way players, and were coached by Phil Jackson. Uh-oh. Did you hear that? I'm in trouble, because that was the sound of a very big red flag going up. 56-26? That's the record of a pretty good team, not the record of a team in contention for the greatest team of all time.
It don't matter when you go 15-1 in the playoffs. Who cares about 56-26 in the regular season? When you go 15-1 in the playoffs, could have been. Come on, what are we really talking about? Come on.
Over the last 40 years, excluding lockout seasons, only 3 other champions won fewer regular season games. We're like 2 minutes into the video, and I already have my work cut out for me. What the hell happened, and how on earth is this team even in this conversation? What the hell happened? The short answer is a lack of identity, poor defensive discipline, complacency, injuries, and the most famous power struggle between 2 teammates in league history. How are they in this conversation? The short answer is because Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal represent the best, most unguardable, unstoppable, unbeatable 1-2 combination in the history of the NBA?
Come on, stop playing with him.
The long answer is all of that, except, I talk about it more. First, let's frame this team. This Lakers team was smack dab in the middle of what would end up being 3 consecutive championship seasons, a feat no other franchise has been able to accomplish since. In 2000, the Lakers won 67 regular season games on their way to their first championship since 1988. Shaq was 1 vote away from being named the first unanimous regular season MVP and added the finals MVP at the end of the year to cap off his ascension to basketball's throne. Kobe, at age 21, was already emerging as one of the premier perimeter players in the game. His well-rounded skill set and approach to the game made him the consensus heir apparent to none other than Michael Jordan. He was a critical part of the team's makeup and was already on the fast track to basketball immortality. Following the championship, Shaq took time to rehab and rest his body at Phil Jackson's direction. And, in what should come as no surprise to anyone in hindsight, Kobe conversely spent countless hours in the gym, honing his skills, determined to fulfill his own goals of hoops supremacy. By the time the team reconvened for training camp, tensions immediately arose between the two superstars and their different approaches to the offseason. Kobe was frustrated seeing Shaq return out of shape after just having had the best season of his career, while Shaq was frustrated with the young shooting guard presuming.
Before we continue, can we not overlook that he could have easily, if he wanted to just look at regular season, he could have picked the 2001 Lakers. 67 wins. I'm just saying. That's five wins less than the 96 Bulls. I'm just saying. He could have easily picked the 2000 Lakers, 67 wins. I'm just saying. He picked the 56 wins, 2001 Lakers. Let's just not overlook that real quick if we're going to put too much emphasis on regular season. We're not even worried about that. I'm just saying, though.
Assuming to be in a position to criticize him following a championship season. And it makes sense from both sides. On the one hand, you have Kobe, the patron saint of the perfectionist and determined, someone for whom effort and diligence was second nature. He had just labored all summer because he was coming into his own and was ready to assume the mantle of superstar. Why wouldn't he be frustrated seeing someone fail to meet his own tenacious work ethic, let alone his partner in crime, the reigning league and finals MVP? On the other hand, imagine the situation from Shaq's perspective. Here's a guy who was 7'1" and 320 pounds of speed, power, touch, nimbleness, and explosiveness. He was truly an anomaly of human anatomy. He'd been the best and biggest guy on every team he'd ever played on, forged against the Hakeems and the Ewings and the Robinsons. He'd been exerting himself and taking a physical toll for years, and he finally had a ring to show for it. Why wouldn't he take some well-deserved time off?
Facts.
He'd earned it. And if you believe Phil, he did what he was told to do. And now he comes back, and this youngster is telling him that he should be working harder? Throughout the season, these disparate attitudes failed to consistently produce wins on the court. You hear all the time about the alpha dog trope that a pair of great teammates face. From Wilt Chamberlain and Jerry West, to LeBron and Dwayne Wade, to Kevin Durant and Russell Westbrook.
Yep. These
chance pairings always come with the baggage of who's in charge here. Who's the one who's supposed to get the last shot? Whose team is it? And this team took that trope to new levels. Kobe had developed into perhaps the league's most complete player and was eager to prove that he could, and perhaps should, be the player leading the Los Angeles Lakers. At the same time, some of the warts of Kobe's hero ball tendencies came to light as he truly believed that the team was in the best position to succeed when he was the one with the ball in his hand taking the most shots.
We ain't see that.
Shaq, of course, resented the fact that coming off the heels of his most successful season, he was already being challenged by his young teammate. The rest of the team, meanwhile, was caught in this maelstrom of egos, unable to find a playstyle or approach that could appease both stars and produce winning results. Even Phil Jackson, who would retire as the most decorated basketball coach to ever live, struggled to amicably settle the dispute. Jackson, long known throughout the league as the Zen Master for his philosophical and holistic approach to coaching, couldn't find a way to foster the same synergy that the Lakers had ridden to a championship just months prior. Jackson believed that the success of the team is predicated on the sacrifice of the individual.
If we're being honest, though, if we're looking at Phil Jackson when he's coaching the Bulls, right? The big egos you got are Scotty and Michael, right? And then you could throw Dennis Rodman in there, but that's more of like a character, not necessarily like a big ego kind of thing. To me, that's way more easier to balance out than Shaq and Kobe, dog. You got the most dominant arguably the most dominant big man of all time. And then you got arguably one of the most skilled, complete players of all time. Both on the same team and damn near in their primes. You got one a little bit more on the end, a little bit one in the more beginning. But still, you can't balance that. That's way different. You know what I mean? You can't compare Shaq to Scotty. You can't, you know what I mean? You can compare Kobe to Jordan, but you can't compare Shaq to Scotty. Or Scotty, I mean, you can't compare Scotty to Shaq. You can't compare Dennis Rodman to Shaq. You can't do that. So that's a whole nother challenge in itself.
Trite cliche for organizations to talk about a team-first philosophy, but it's an idea rooted in truth. To galvanize this team, Kobe would have to accept that despite his tremendous abilities as an individual, this team couldn't reach its full potential if he took every shot. At the same time, Shaq needed to accept that Kobe was ready to be a more integral part of this team, which would indeed merit him more credit in their victories. As the season continued, this rift only grew deeper. The two were constantly at odds on the court and trading barbs through the media off of it. Through sheer talent, the team was still competitive in most of their games and near the top of the standings, but it seemed to many that they were on a collision course of self-destruction. In fact, it soon became a foregone conclusion to many members of the media that a trade was inevitable, that the feud was irreparable, and that the Lakers were better off cutting bait and acquiring assets for one of their stars.
Ooh,
you would hear quotes from Bryant saying, "Turn my game down. I need to turn it up. I've improved. How are you going to bottle me up? I'd be better off playing someplace else." You'd hear Shaq say something like,
"When everything went through me, the outcome was good. It was 67-15, playing with enthusiasm. The city was jumping up and down. We had a parade at the stadium. And now we're 23-11, so you figure it out."
And because of this draining situation in the locker room, LA simply wouldn't put the effort in on most nights to effectively defend, leading to one of the worst defenses in the league. Shaq also presented a problem with his notoriously poor free throw shooting. Shooting just 51% from the stripe, Shaq was the major culprit in making the Lakers the worst free throw shooting team in the league. On top of it all, Shaq and Kobe combined to miss 22 games, Ron Harper missed substantial time due to knee injury, and, perhaps most importantly, Derek Fisher missed the first 62 games of the season with a broken foot. Derek Fisher, the team's backup point guard, who hadn't started a single playoff game the year prior, returned to the court on March 13th, and with him brought the fire back to Los Angeles.
Nah, D-Fish, look, bro, the one thing about the Lakers, bro, especially the 2000 to 2002, 2003, whatever, you know what I mean, that three-peat, and then even the year after that. One thing about them, bro, the role players, like, they weren't big names or nothing. Like, when I think of, like, them, it's kind of like the Tom Brady with the Patriots, right? When you got Bill Belichick and Tom Brady on the Patriots with their dynasty team, they were making names out of dudes I never heard of, you never knew, you never heard about. They wasn't making no noise in college, except maybe when they had Randy Moss or whatever. But outside of that, bro, you ain't really. But all of them together as role players, the role players on those Patriots teams, you knew about because they played their role to perfection. And that's one thing about the Lakers too. Them role players like Rick Fox, Horace Grant, Devin George, Derek Fisher, Robert Horry, like these guys played their roles to perfection. And that's one of the biggest differences. Like, they had a lot of role players that did what they were supposed to do.
Angeles. Instantly inserted into the starting lineup, Fisher came back with a hot hand, which helped space the floor for other shooters. And
we also had Slava Medvedenko and like Chris Mim, Smush Parker, and a whole bunch of other guys that I don't want to ever think about again. But The ones that did good. You know, you know what I mean? They did good.
And most importantly for Shaq, he brought a new defensive energy that would eventually encourage the team and shore up their biggest weakness. And most importantly, he brought stability. By the time he retired, Derek Fisher had set the record for most playoff games played in an NBA career. What's more, Derek Fisher was never the most important player or top scorer on any of those teams. That's just not what he brought to the table.
Point
player
four
or top scorer on any of those.
This was the greatest thing I ever saw when I was a kid. I remember being like, I was like 8 years old, and bro hit the .4. I lost my mind, bro. I lost my fucking mind, bro. I'm not even playing with you. That .4, I'll never forget that .4. I watched that shit live. Greatest thing I ever seen. And that was right after Tim Duncan hit the craziest little fadeaway little shot from the free throw line or top of the key. I was like, damn, it's a wrap. And then Derek Fisher came through with that .4. Crazy.
Those teams. That's just not what he brought to the table. But it's no mistake that he found himself on so many playoff teams in so many playoff games. Teams were, almost without exception, better with Derek Fisher on the roster.
Facts.
He had a feel for the game that went beyond makes and misses. When and how to feed Shaq. When and why to let Kobe operate. And when and how to get the ball to the rest of the Lakers and make this group of talented players a team. In the 20 regular season games that Fisher played, the Lakers went 15-5 and finished the regular season with an 8-game win streak, their longest all season. And in this late season confluence of events, the final piece fell into place. As Fisher returned from injury, Kobe fell victim to it. He missed 11 of the team's last 21 games. And in those games, the Lakers went 8-3. During that time on the bench, Kobe saw the success that the team was having without him, one of the best players in all of basketball. With Fisher at the helm, the Lakers flowed on offense and seemed energized on defense. You wouldn't say that they were better without Kobe, but they were playing their best basketball of the season without him. If I had to guess, I would venture to say that at some point, maybe not overtly, maybe not all at once, but at some point, Kobe and Shaq decided to meet each other halfway. By now, it was clear that the worst thing about the team was the relationship between these two.
Now we're 23-11. You figure it out.
But it was also obvious that the best thing about this team was these two. Remember this? Somehow, they struck some kind of a chord. Kobe would take a small step back, but Shaq would concede some of the spotlight. Kobe didn't resign to be Robin. Instead, he would be the Batman to Shaq's Superman.
I like that.
I told you it was a long story.
I love that.
Somehow, despite their underwhelming record and their foibles and their squabbling, they were better. They'd evolved. Shaq had played himself into shape and was bringing the pain every night.
Yeah.
Kobe had improved in nearly every aspect of his game. They had the swagger of a winner and the confidence of a champion. They were better than everybody, by a ludicrous margin. In all of their playoff games in the Western Conference, they did not lose.
Yep.
Not one game.
Swept.
3 straight sweeps, 11 straight wins to go back to the finals.
Who cares about the regular season when you sweeping everybody in the playoff? Who cares? Boom, knock them out, sweep them out. Boom, sweep them out. Boom, sweep them out. What are we talking about? Cruising. Cruise control before the Teslas. We don't even gotta drive this motherfucker. We don't even gotta drive this motherfucker. Chill, bro. Come on, dog.
The combination of Shaq and Kobe was apocryphal for other teams. In back-to-back games against the Kings, Shaq put up 44 and 43 points to take a 2-0 lead. Kobe then took center stage and put up 36 and 48 points to put Sacramento on ice. And that's the way it went throughout the playoffs. They beat the Spurs, who had home court and the best record in the league, by 14, 7, 39, and 29 points, respectively.
Against the Twin Towers.
It was an absolute thrashing. Kobe had his best series thus far and helped send the Lakers to their second consecutive finals. Chick Hearn, the quintessential Lakers play-by-play broadcaster.
Man, R.I.P. to Chick Hearn, man.
Since 1961, who coined terms like slam dunk, airball, and triple double, said this.
There's no team in Laker history ever played at a higher level of perfection than this team is doing.
Matched up against league MVP Allen Iverson's Philadelphia 76ers in the finals, the Lakers stumbled for their first and only time, thanks to Iverson's heroic performance in Game 1. The Lakers responded with 4 consecutive wins to capture their second title in as many years. It wasn't a super dramatic conclusion. Even though some of the games were close, it ended up being a 5-game series. But sometimes, being the best isn't about the dramatic 7-game thrillers or the narrow victories.
Woo!
Sometimes it's just about kicking ass. And the Lakers kicked some ass. They went 15-1 through the playoffs, as close to a clean sweep as any team has ever gotten. They faced
I think he's getting that wrong. I'm pretty sure they went 16-1. You got to win 4 games. So 4, 8, 12, Western Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? 16. I think he messed that up and he didn't correct it, but I'm pretty sure it's 16-1. You know what I mean? I don't know why I didn't correct him earlier. It's 16-1.
Stiff competition, becoming just the second team in history to defeat 4 straight 50-win teams. And they posted the highest net rating of any postseason team ever. How? Because they had Kobe Bryant and Shaquille O'Neal playing together at the same time on the same team. I don't feel like I've talked enough about what it meant to have 2001 Shaq. With a 7'7" wingspan, he was the most physically dominant player to ever step onto a basketball court outside of a Wilt Chamberlain. The guy literally changed the way they make NBA baskets.
Facts.
In the finals, against Dikembe Mutombo, who had just won his 4th Defensive Player of the Year award, Shaq put up the spectacular stat line of 33 points, 15.8 rebounds, 4.8 assists, and 3.4 blocks, en route to his 2nd straight Finals MVP award.
That's disgusting.
He had soft touch on his jump hooks, underrated abilities as a passer, the explosiveness to go over any defender, and the maneuverability to get around any player his size. Defensively, he wasn't Bill Russell or Hakeem Olajuwon, but he was good enough to be a second-team all-defensive selection and loomed as one of basketball's most intimidating forces in the paint. He was the linchpin to this Lakers dynasty. Since its inception in 1969, 2 players have won 3 consecutive Finals MVP awards. One is Michael Jordan. The other is Shaquille O'Neal. Few players in this game's history have come close to matching the level of peak Shaquille O'Neal. Think you can stop him? Well, then have fun guarding Kobe Bryant. You know, the closest thing to Michael Jordan that there's ever been. In 2001, Kobe hadn't yet extended his range effectively beyond the three-point arc. But he was still one of the best shot makers in the business. He had flawless body control, the ability to shower you with an array of shots from damn near anywhere, a ceaseless motor on both ends of the court, and world-class athleticism. He was scintillating in the playoffs and averaged 29, 7, and 6, leading the Lakers in postseason passing. So, can you stop Shaq? Can you stop Kobe? Can you stop them both? Probably not. But even if you can, you now have to contend with a fantasy roster full of two-way beasts.
Thank you. I'm so glad he got to the role players, bro, because they were different, dog. Different. I don't think any team besides the Lakers, the 87 Lakers, the 96 Bulls, and I'll even say the 17 Warriors. I don't know if any other team can even compete at all with the role players. I don't even think those teams can compete with the role players, except the 87 Lakers. I mean, every player, you know every player on the 87 Lakers. You know what I mean? Showtime Lakers, everybody knows every player on that team. They probably had one of the best role-playing squads, but I don't know if they compete with 01. But that's a tough one. You let me know in the comments.
Got Derek Fisher, a double-digit scorer, offensive maestro, and defensive pest. Rick Fox, who also averaged in the double digits. shot 39% from 3 in the regular season, and who was capable of locking down top scorers like Peja Stojakovic. Plus, top shelf playoff veterans like Ron Harper, Horace Grant, Brian Shaw, and the X factor of every team he's ever been on, Robert Horry.
Big shot
With those players, could the Lakers have played today? With a couple of tweaks, absolutely. If the three-point shot rules the day, they can keep up. In the playoffs, the Lakers shot the exact same percentage from 3 that the 2017 Warriors shot.
I'm not playing with y'all, dog. The 0-1 Lakers shot the same percentage from 3 in the playoffs as the 2017 Warriors. Stop playing with them, bro. I used to play NBA Live. I was hitting threes like Steph Curry on NBA Live. Man, come on, bro.
They have the perfect swingmen to switch on defense and enough star power to compete with any team that's come since. I mean, man, wouldn't you love to see a team try to play small ball against Shaq? I mean, it's really that simple. You can't stop Shaq, and even if you could, how many other teams in history can tote out another first ballot, first teamer, all-timer, two-way dynamo in their athletic prime as the sidekick? They're the best 1-2 punch to ever play on the same team at the same time. So, let's say you focus all your attention and energy neutralizing the two of them. Can you stop all of those role players? And do you think you can do it all while out-coaching Phil Jackson? Pick your poison. It doesn't matter what you decide. You're not making it out of there alive.
Yeah.
They weren't the best start-to-finish team ever. If that's your thing, your 1972 Dolphins jersey is in the mail. But when they were at their best, when it came time to win, with stakes on the table, you could not beat this team. They were too good at too many things from top to bottom. Other pairings won more championships together. Other teammates dominated their eras for longer periods of time. But I maintain that no two teammates, as an overall pairing of destructive forces at both ends of the court, were better than Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant in the playoffs of 2001. The Venn diagram of these two talents overlapped in a way and on a level that has no equal. And that's the enduring legacy of this Lakers team. The yin and yang of conflict and victory. You're gonna get the squabbling and the feuding and the power struggle. It's a byproduct of their talent and of how different these two men were on so many levels. But they realized time and time again that theirs was an unstoppable partnership. They put the pettiness aside, bought into the team and to each other, and won over and over and over again.
3 of them
They
things.
didn't win 7 championships together. Instead, they ushered in a new Lakers dynasty, the most unstoppable duo ever, and in 2001, the greatest basketball team of all time.
Yep, I agree. That's it. Making the case 2001 Lakers, bro. To me, that's the greatest team of all time. I don't think you put up any team, dog, against them. We going 7 games. I'm only worried about the 96 Bulls, and I'm only worried about the 87 Lakers, and I'm still not worried because you ain't about to do nothing. I'm sorry. That's my favorite team of all time. I think the greatest team of all time. Y'all let me know what you think, man. I'm about to get to the rest of the teams. I'm going to try to drop at least 2 a week. We'll see. I'm going to do at least 2 a week, so I'll do the next team up, which I think is the Celtics, in a couple days. So check that out, man. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, get at me in the comments with more videos to react to. I love y'all, appreciate y'all. Remember to keep it real. Real is rare. Real always reaches everyone. Next time. Peace.